everybody. Happy Thursday. How are you today? I'm Pia from Stitches and Scraps, and welcome to Lunchtime Live. This is episode 57, and in this episode, at the end of the episode, I will show you how to make your increases, your crochet increases, a little bit more invisible. So before we get there, for those of you who are new, let me tell you a little bit about what Lunchtime Live is. This is basically my video newsletter for Stitches and Scraps. So I'll start out by telling you what's new at Stitches and Scraps, what's coming up for next week, and then we end with a little demo of a crochet or knitting technique. And we do this every week, so I hope you'll join us again. Meanwhile, the stuff that I talk about today, if I'm talking about a pattern or a post on the blog or anything else that you might want to link to, if you look in the description on the video, there's a link to a blog post about this Lunchtime Live episode. And in that post, you'll see a list of all of the links of everything that I'm going to talk about. So if I talk about something that I forgot to list in the links, I will add it after the video, but otherwise everything I talk about is going to be there. So if you want more information on anything I tell you, go check out that link and you'll see it there. Hi Tina, I'm so glad you could make it today. So let's jump right in. Here's what's new on the blog. I will start out with the latest pattern, which is the Owl Fridgie. This is our fridge magnet for the Fridgies crochet along that we've been doing all year. Let me show you a close-up of it. There is our little owl with the little tufts. It's a really simple, quick pattern. The front and the back are almost the same except for the little red circle, and then you just got the eyes. Honestly, I think this is the easiest of all of the Fridgies so far. So if you haven't done them, this is a good one to start with, and then you can go back and do some of the others. We'll be going all year, so you have plenty of time to catch up. So far we've done all the ones you see behind me on the wall. There's a lion, teddy bear, bunny rabbit, fox, sunshine, unicorn, and bluebird. I think that's all of them. So there's plenty of time to catch up. These are really quick and fast to make. The other pattern that I had this week was for the Christmas in July crochet along over on Underground Crafter. I love crochet alongs, so I just do so many of them, I forget which one's for which. But this is a dog snood. So what is a dog snood? Well, first of all, it's for dogs' ears. It can be a like scarf hat combination where it protects their ears and holds their ears back and covers them when it's cold out, like when it's really cold. It's also useful if you have a dog with big, long, floppy ears to keep the ears out of their food and their water bowl when they're eating or drinking. And finally, a friend of mine told me they're also really good for dogs that are reactive to sound. So if you have a dog that gets scared by loud sounds, this will muffle the sounds and help calm them a little bit. So I'm going to try to show you with my hand how it looks, because trying to get Millie to cooperate with a live video is not going to be fun. But let me zoom out a bit here. Okay, so if you can imagine that this is the dog's face. So here's the dog's nose sticking out, this is his head, and then this comes back around the neck over here. And it does sit smoothly. Obviously my hand is not quite a dog's head, but this is the dog's head, and then it comes back around to their neck. If you have a dog with a really big face, you can actually wear it the other way, so that there's a little bit less going on around the neck, but the dog's face can stick out farther and it covers more, like if they've got a really long head, basically. So this is a dog snood. It comes in 5 sizes, from teeny all the way up to super floof, and I have measurements for each of those sizes listed in the pattern. So you measure around the dog's head like this, and you pick the size that fits. So that's the other new pattern that came out this week. 2 patterns this week. It's been a busy week. So that's the new patterns. One thing I wanted to mention about the owl that I forgot, go on there and look at the Friggi's Crochet Along post, the main post for the Crochet Along, because there's an awesome giveaway for third quarter. We're about halfway through. Next month will be the last month for the quarter, and then you'll be too late. So go on there and do it now. Enter to win a ball of Lion Brand Date Nights yarn. I want to say they're giving away 3 balls. It's listed there, so look for the details there. But I want to say you win 3 balls in your choice of color from whatever's available on the site. So definitely enter that giveaway. Fantastic yarn, and I have a pattern in that yarn that you can then use the yarn to make. So don't forget the giveaway. And then coming up, new on the blog this week, I showed you last week, I think in the demo, how to do a knit front and back. When I did that, I actually recorded a full tutorial as well. I just have to edit it and get it up on the blog. I'm really sure I'm going to get to it this week. So hopefully that will get up this week, a knit front and back tutorial. Also, next Thursday, hi Beth, good to see you. I'm glad you made it. This Thursday, right before I do my lunchtime live, I'm also going to be live in the Crochet Guild of America's Crochet Along group. So if you're in that members only group, what they're doing is to pass time between 2 crochet alongs, they're interviewing the cool kids. I don't know how I qualify as a cool kid, but it's nice once in my life to be cool. So I'm going to be doing that interview there at 10:30 Central, right before I come here and do this one at 11:30 Central. So hopefully I'll see you at both. I'd love to chat. I think what they're going to have me talk about then is basically the education programs at the CGOA and, you know, what we have coming up and all the different ways you can get involved. But that'll be a fun chat to have. Okay, I think that's all the information I have for you. So if there are no questions, I will jump into the demo, and this will be a really quick demo this time. When I did the owl, and I've used this increase on all of these magnets, but when I did the owl in particular just now, I got a whole bunch of comments saying, I love that increase you used, I've never seen it before. And I'm like, okay, I use it all the time, but I guess we've hit a bunch of people who haven't seen it again, so I thought I would show it to you. Here I've got just a swatch of single crochet that I made, and I'm going to do some increases on the next row, okay? So let me get a little bit into it, and then here in this 3rd stitch, I'm going to do a regular increase the way we've always seen an increase done, which is just putting 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So 1, 2, okay? And then I'm going to do a few more stitches. Okay, I want you to notice when you look at this that the hole made by that increase, and this is being really nitpicky, okay, but the hole made by that increase is a little bit bigger than the holes around it. You can see that there's 2 stitches in there. You can see that it looks different from the stitches around it. These 2 stitches are off at angles. It just doesn't look the same. And if you start stacking these increases on top of each other, you're going to have a visible line of increases. So here's how we do a slightly less visible increase. I'm going to do one more stitch here and then I'll do an increase. We're still going to put 2 single crochets into this next stitch, but we're just not going to put them in exactly the same spot. The first one we're going to put in the back loop only. So you see you've got the front loop here and the back loop here, okay? So the first one we're going to put in the back loop only. And the second one we're going to put under both loops just like we normally would. So now you've got the 2 stitches, but because one is sitting behind the other, they sit more straight, right? Because they have room to kind of cross over each other a little bit. Let me finish this row and show you. So it's not completely invisible, but this one, at least to my eyes, is way more visible right there than, where is it? Where is it? There it is. Than that one. Okay, you can sort of make that one out because the stitch is slightly at an angle and you've got this top that doesn't seem to belong to anything, right? You can't see the post on this. But this one is much more obvious. Okay, so when you look at the wrong side, let's do some single crochets all the way back. When you look at the wrong side, it is more obvious. And the reason for that is that we worked in the back loop, right? So the back loop shows on the wrong side. Let's find that again. Okay, so yes, this is the increase that I did, right? So now these two stitches are very visible. You can see them both because this one's in the back loop only and this one's in both loops. So they're both pushed to this side. So it's not quite as hidden on the wrong side, which means if you're doing increases on both the front and the back, I would say use this type of increase on the front, not necessarily on the back. Let me show you what the other one looks like from the back after I finish this row. Okay, so here is, see that little bump? I don't know if you can see how it's raised a little bit. So there's a visible bump here from that increase on the back. So it is more visible on the back than the regular increase. So I would use the regular increase if I'm doing it on the wrong side row, okay? And I would use the more invisible increase if I'm doing it on a right side row, because from a right side row, you've got this one that you can see very clearly, right? And then you've got this one that you can't see at all. In fact, I'm not sure which stitch it is, this one, that you can't see at all. Also, and this yarn's not showing it, but in some yarns in particular, this hole is much bigger on a regular increase than it is on the more invisible increase. So if you're making amigurumi, especially when you start to fill it and it stretches out, right? This hole actually will let filling come through because you've got two stitches in the same hole, so it just forces a bigger hole. So the invisible increase keeps that a little bit tighter, so it's great for amigurumi projects as well. So when I would use it, okay, so I would use it if you don't want to see your increase and you're working on the right side, or if you need tiny holes like amigurumi. I wouldn't use this increase if you're making something where you want the stitches to show, like for example a hat, where you want that kind of spiral shape of increases as a design element. Or any time that you want the increases to show as a design element, then I wouldn't use the invisible increase because you want visible increases. As far as other stitches besides single crochet, let's take a look at those. So you can do this technique with any stitch that you want to. Frankly, I don't, before I get into that, I wanted to say one other thing. One other time where you will not want to use this increase is if you need the back loop for something in the next row. If you're going to be working something into that back loop later, you can't take up the back loop with the increase. So you might want to work a regular increase in the front loop, or you might want to work post-stitch increases. You know, other increases are needed if you need that back loop free later. Okay, now back to other taller stitches. So let's do half double crochets, and I'm going to show you. You might want to use it on a half double crochet, but half double crochets are so bulky that it's less invisible, right? You can see the bump there. I've done that increase where I worked one in the back loop and one in the front, and it's okay. It's not quite as invisible as it is in a single crochet. Let me show you a regular half double crochet increase. Here, I'm going to work 2 half double crochets in this stitch. And then I'll go to the end. Sorry, I'm going fast because I want to show you the end result. Okay, so here I worked 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. Here I worked one in the back loop, one in the front loop, one in the back loop, one in both loops. I don't frankly see that much of a difference when it comes to half double crochets. So for half double crochets, do whichever one floats your boat, you know, whichever one you like better. When it comes to double crochets and beyond, I actually would avoid the increase that goes into the back loop only. And the reason for that is you don't want to stretch out a single loop as well. And sometimes working a double crochet into one loop is going to stretch it out a little bit too much. And you don't get any difference at all, really. That difference is The only difference might be that the hole doesn't stretch as much, but if you're working double crochets, you've got bigger holes than that everywhere, so it's not going to make any difference. Let me get a regular double crochet increase in here. So if I just put 2 double crochets in this stitch, and then as you get taller, of course, it doesn't matter as much at all either. So my takeaway is I use this for amigurumi, I use it for single crochet, I very rarely use it, sometimes I'll use it for half double crochet, but I very rarely use it for taller stitches because I cannot tell any difference at all between, actually I think this one looks nicer, between this one and this one. This one looks like there's a weird half stitch sticking out in the middle, you know? So I think this is more disruptive than this when it starts coming to the taller stitches. But you certainly can. If you like the way it looks, you certainly can work that kind of an increase in the taller stitches. I'll show you one more time in the single crochets how exactly I did it, and then we will call this demo done. So if you have questions in the meantime, pop them in the chat. I am going to put an increase in this stitch right here, okay? Oops. Oh, I forgot to plug my computer in, but that's okay, the battery's good. My screen just died on me. All right, so this one right here, I'm going to do an increase in this stitch. So I'm going to go in the back loop only and make 1 single crochet. All right, then I'm going to go in both the front and the back loops and make my 2nd single crochet. And that's how you do a almost invisible single crochet increase. I do have a full tutorial on this technique on the blog. Again, you can find it at that link that's in the description. And if there are no other questions, that's actually all I have for you today. Oh no, that's not all I have for you today. I have to tell you about the shop. I forgot last week. I got new yarns in for the Stitches and Scraps yarn shop. Raffia has been the most popular and we sold out of one color. So I bought all the colors except for one that they're out of stock on, but all the colors that I could get, I bought all the colors for the shop. So all, I want to say 9 colors now I have in the shop. So go check them out. There's some awesome colors there. I also got a brand new yarn for the shop called Stormy. Let me show you the close-up of this one. Oop. This is great for fall and winter stuff. So if you guys are starting on your Christmas stuff, this is the yarn you want. It is kind of this like mottled, heathered or marled color where it's got different shades in it. And it's a number 7, I want to say. It's like not the highest one, but the one just below it. So maybe that's 6. Bulky yarn, like a super bulky, I think is the thing. It's got the full description on the store, so check that out for the details in case I'm wrong. But it works up really, really fast. It is 100% acrylic, so it's washable. Delicate cycle, dry flat, but it is washable. It's very soft, and it's actually, for those of you who are spinners like me, it feels like it's like spun woolen, so like it's very airy and open, and there are 4 plies in here, so it's a nice big fat round airy kind of a yarn. And I have several colors of this in the yarn shop, so go check that one out. King Cole Stormy, big value, super chunky. Hi Karen, I'm glad you could join us. We are almost done though. I think that's everything that I had for you guys. So if there's no questions on the demo or anything, and Karen, you can watch the replay, so don't worry, you didn't miss anything. You can see it on the replay. But if that's it, I'm gonna sign off and say have a happy weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.